Hey, welcome to the Weekend Warriors Home Improvement Show, built by Parr Lumber. I'm Corey Valdez.
And I'm Tony Cookston.
We're coming to you on location today from Burns, Oregon. I don't know if you've ever been to Burns, but it's pretty far away from Portland.
You know, it's funny. I've actually been out to Burns before, one other time. But it is a long ways away from anywhere I've ever been. But we are out here because there is a huge event going on out here today. The entire town, I think, is in attendance today.
Huge event. They're expecting almost 500 people today. This is a very, very big event for the Burns Parr Lumber.
Yeah.
And we're out here representing, saying hi to everybody that listens to our show, all three of them.
Yep, all three people.
And
we've actually had a few. So our show airs on a radio station in Burns.
Yes, it does.
And so the residents of Burns have heard the show a lot, and we've had a couple guys stop by and tell us that they listen to the show every weekend, which is pretty cool. And so this is us here, right here. We're out amongst the people, the fans, right? And we're bringing you exactly what you need in August.
Absolutely.
Hot August nights. And you know what you get when you have hot August nights?
Hot August sweaty sheets?
No, you are grilling meat.
Yes.
That's what you're doing. Hot August nights require grills. And I'm not talking about a propane grill. I am talking about a wood pellet grill.
A wood pellet grill.
Like, we're talking about smoking. We're smoking is what we're doing. It's less cook, more smoke. That's what I think. So anyways, today we have a guest on the show, which is perfect for this time of year, perfect for this event, perfect for everything people are thinking about right now, which is being outside and cooking outside and picnicking outside. We have got on the show today
a legend.
Whoa, easy.
Brian Traegar. Brian Traegar, how are you today, sir?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're very excited to have you on the show. We, of course, Parr Lumber Company's been got into the wood pellet business because of the Traeger family and the product that the Traeger family brought to the market.
Long time ago.
So many years ago.
Yep.
So we should just tell us a little bit about yourself. Your name is Brian Traegar. Your last name is not a coincidence. When you think about Traeger grills,
it's synonymous with pellet grills.
Yeah, that was my dad, Joe. So my dad, Joe, invented the wood pellet grill. He had been in the stove and furnace business for years and years, running his own stuff, making his own wood stoves and that sort of thing. Got into pellets, and at the beginning of his pellet venture, it was stoves and furnaces. The pellet grills didn't come around for a long time.
Really?
Until he got frustrated with his gas grill. This is a true story.
This is a true story.
He won a gas grill from the gas company in town. Had an event where our family's huge. I'm the youngest of 9.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So we had a big event, and he loaded that thing up with chicken, and him and my mom were moving some tables around. He looked back over, and the thing's engulfed in flames.
No.
So he got frustrated, ran over there and kicked the thing over the hill, and said, I can do better. So with his background using the pellets in the stoves and furnaces, he came up with a pellet grill, built a few just for himself and a few friends, and it took a long time because it's a big education thing with pellet grills. People didn't understand what a pellet was to begin with, but now you're talking about cooking with them.
Yeah.
It was a long battle. But once people tasted the food off of the grill and saw how easy it was to use, it's awesome to see where it's at today.
Yeah, it really combines two methods of cooking, barbecuing, grilling, and smoking.
Yep.
The smoker barbecue, it was never a thing until your dad invented it.
Yeah, at least not with the ease that he provided.
Right.
I mean, there was the offset wood burners.
Sure.
Wood burners, and that gave you that result. But the ability to control the temperature and the ease of use on those things is you got to be dedicated to get your temperatures down on those things. But yeah, that's the success of it is being able to walk out, turn the grill on, set your temperature, go get your meat ready. You come back out 10, 15 minutes later, it's at temperature. You put it on there, and away you go. A lot different than they were originally. You had to hand start them before. Basically, the first grills were on or off, so there was one temperature.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah. And then we had the big update where we had 3 speeds. You could go high, medium, and low.
Oh, yeah. My first one was a high, medium, low.
Yeah.
Mine was too. My first one was as well.
Yep. And they cook great. It's just the ability to hit temperatures and do quite a few different things on the grills now. It's a whole new level. And what we say about it for years was your success is kind of built in. Because it's indirect and because you're using wood, people don't screw it up. You don't ruin a piece of meat on it very often.
Right.
I mean,
right.
you have to really work to do it. But yeah, just ease of use, and overall it's flavor. That's why people like a pellet grill. It just tastes better than cooking on the gas grill.
Oh, well, that's absolutely the truth. I remember when I very first got my Traeger, my first wood pellet grill, and somebody said, "You want to see the difference? I'll tell you the difference. Cook a pizza on there.
Yeah.
Just put a pizza on there.
Pizza.
And then when you put a pizza on there and you cook one in the house and one on the pellet grill, and wow, that was everything. For me, a switch went off in my brain, and I was like, that's that flavor. That's that flavor that everybody wants, the one that tastes like you cooked it over an open flame, somewhere. It is awesome because, Parr Lumber Company, of course, sells pellets for heating and pellets for cooking, right? Cooking, and I remember just thinking that from the place where the grills came from and the pellets that were used specifically for those, people would come in and say, "Well, why can't I use that?" You've heard that question 1,000 times.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, why would you do that? Why would you even? I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So it's funny because you guys invented the grill, and then in a situation so simple that you were trying to replace something that wasn't working properly, and then now there's blogs and chat rooms and conversations about how you can use a Traeger or a pellet grill to make your meat better and all. I mean, it just grew into this massive thing.
Yep.
It's unreal to me.
Yeah. I was telling you guys a story a little earlier about my brother and I, when we first got started. It was, how do we make this a category? Because that was the dream, right? There's gas grills and charcoal grills. How do we make pellet grills a legitimate category? And to see where it's at today, it's somewhere north of 20% of the overall market. So it's exciting to see.
Yeah, when you're walking through Costco and you see pellet grills in Costco, you've made it.
That was a battle in itself, but yeah. Yep.
That's very cool. How long ago was that? When was the very first?
So he started tinkering around with them early 80s, 83, 84, and then it really started manufacturing about 85, 86. And again, when I say manufacturing, we were making 25 at a time.
Right.
Yeah, in our old dairy barn in Mount Angel. Yeah.
That's incredible.
It is incredible how far it's come. So here's what we haven't said. Traeger sold the business at some point.
Yeah.
You said 2006 maybe.
We sold in 2006. So, and then most of us, me and my two brothers and my dad.
Your family, right.
Yeah, worked for the company that we sold it to for a couple of years. I worked for them for about 5 years. And the reason for us really looking to sell was we were in that barn and we couldn't produce enough to meet the demand, which was fun. But it meant taking a jump out and finding new manufacturing facilities and that sort of thing. And it was worth taking a look at. It worked out great.
Yeah, it wasn't what you signed on for. The family came up with this amazing product, and you were making it, and people were loving it, enjoying it. But at some point, it just outgrows.
Right.
I mean, and then you say, well, you guys are equipped to take this. You guys take it on, and then now you've moved on to something different.
So now we're working with Danson's, and they make Pit Boss Grills and Louisiana Grills, family-owned company, which through my experience we sold, and it was venture capital, and it became this corporate thing really quick, and it's just not the same as a family business. So Danson's is owned by Dan Thiessen, his son Jeff, and his son Jordan, and it's working with the family. You can move quicker and do things the right way without having to jump through all the hoops, and it's a blast.
So what kind of products does Danson's make? You said the Pit Boss. I've seen those.
Yep.
Louisiana Grills. What is different? What tell us about those?
So in a nutshell, it is their goal is to make a product that's bigger, meaning more grill space, gets hotter temperature, and basically sells for less. So bigger, hotter, heavier gauge steel for less money.
Wow.
And being the family business, they can work with the margins a little bit more than most manufacturers. So it's they're doing great. I mean, people who have a Pit Boss grill, it's a growing brand, and there's a reason for it. those three things are big. It's bigger and hotter and heavier, and you can buy it for less money.
What are some of the really cool features that are unique? I mean, I'm looking over at the Louisiana grills over there. Those things are massive.
Yep.
I mean, I've never seen another barbecue that size. Is that something that's readily available, or is that a custom?
That's kind of a commercial unit. That's not for residential use, really,
Sure.
but it's great for an event like this where we're feeding 500 people.
Yeah.
But what separates them, I wish we would have thought of this actually back in the day. So there's a hopper for the pellets, an auger that turns and feeds the pellets into a fire pot, a combustion fan, fuel and air onto it. We had a solid drip pan, so all the drippings would run down into a grease trap and then outside into a bucket. They came up with a sear tech, they call it. So instead of having that solid drip pan, you can actually open that up, because that was our problem always. People love the flavor, they love the way it cooked, they love that, but they wanted to get kind of that bark or that char on a steak.
Right,
We
okay.
really, I mean, I love the flavor of a steak, but you can never really get it hot enough to do that. So what they offer is this, the angled drip pan, you can actually open that up. There's a slide on it. So when you open that up, now you're directly over the top of the flame, and you're grilling at over 1,000 degrees over the top of that flame.
Wow.
So that's awesome. Reverse searing a steak you talk about, like the chats and the blogs. That reverse searing a steak is huge, and that is the best pellet grill out there for doing that, because now you can get your smoke on it, open that thing up, and finish it off over 1,000 degrees. And that's a big separator.
That is very versatile. Yeah. That is super versatile. That's exciting.
I didn't know that.
I also didn't know that. You know, Pit Boss, it seems to me, and I'm just a guy, right? But it seems to me over the last year, I've heard more people saying the name Pit Boss, where I hadn't heard it before. And I don't know how long they've been making grills, but they're definitely making a splash right now.
For sure.
I'm seeing it happen. And that was before even being here today and seeing you here with them. But a lot of people are talking about them having more options, being everything that the previous pellet grills weren't, right?
Yep.
More capability. And I don't know how much value people put on this, but they say they just look cooler.
Yeah, it's a cool look. That matters. It does.
It does matter.
Yeah.
If you're standing out in your backyard and you're standing around a lame-looking grill, well, then, that's exactly what you're doing. But if you're standing around the coolest thing, people are like, hey, man, where'd you get that?
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's part of it. Your buddies come over, you impress them with what you cook because the thing stinking works, and it looks cool, and that matters, like I said.
It does matter. I mean, it really does. So they're price competitive with other pellet grills, even being maybe less expensive-ish. Like they're very competitive.
Yeah, that has changed too. Going back to when we started, the cost of getting the parts and manufacturing it yourself in Mount Angel, Oregon, drove that price up. So not only did we have to go through the educational part of what is this and how does it work, it costs more. But now with pellet grills growing the way they had and the availability of all the parts now, numbers-wise, they're competitive with gas grills.
I remember that being something else with just pellet grills in general. And there's a lot of them now. You were telling me.
I'd say 20, 25 legitimate manufacturers of pellet grills out there now.
That's incredible.
Wow, that is incredible.
Yep.
It seems as though one of the things that I hear most often about pellet grills in general is that they can be difficult to get parts for, or to get fixed, or to get serviced, or to get something along those lines. Is that something that Pit Boss has addressed and is not having a problem with?
I'd say not so much anymore. Huge service department, 24/7, call in to get you fixed. And the cool thing about a pellet grill is there's a few parts. You have an auger motor, a combustion fan, an igniter. I mean,
just
a control
not a lot.
board. There's not a lot to it. So usually it's a pretty simple fix. A lot of times we're sending a part to somebody that has an issue and they can take care of it themselves. But I didn't mention this before. So that bigger, hotter, heavier for less is a big push, and that's how we're winning. And also a 5-year warranty instead of the standard out there is 3. So they're standing behind their product really well.
Yeah. What would you have for advice for some people out there who don't own one and they're looking to get into it? What would you say is the biggest, your sales pitch, your benefit for jumping into it?
My thing is always flavor. It's always flavor.
Yeah,
that's where you got to start, because that's why people love them. It just flat out tastes better because you're cooking indirectly over wood. So you get the smoke and the heat and the convection. The way that it works, you're not cooking directly over the flame unless you open up that sear station. But with the convection heat, you're sealing a lot more of the moisture and the flavor, And again, talking techie barbecue terms, there's a smoke ring, right? So that smoke ring that you get because of the convection heat is way better than anything direct. And that equals success. Like I said, you are successful. I don't care whether you're cooking fish or cooking chicken, steak. It's going to turn out good for you because your chances of messing up are slim.
Yeah, it's very difficult to ruin a piece of meat on a pellet barbecue.
I can tell you a story really quick if you want to hear this.
Yes.
We're at this barbecue event in Houston. This is back in the early days. Lots of grills out there. We were trying to cook, get the word out there, impress people. I bought a salmon fillet and I had it on the grill. And you get to talking, right? And I totally forgot about it. So this lady walks up and she's a writer for a barbecue magazine or something. And we're talking about how it works and all this stuff. And she says, how does it do on fish? And as soon as she says that, this light goes off like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
It's got a salmon.
I said, well, I'll let you see this and we'll see if it works. But man, I way overcooked this thing. So we walk over to it. It looks pretty good. It's more than I would have cooked it. I flake off some of that salmon and hand it to her. She takes a bite. She goes, can I have another bite? I said, yeah. Took a bite. She goes, I think that's the best salmon I've ever had. And I ruined it.
You had to add it on there. I think that's really in my opinion, the only danger is just leaving it on too long. Just past that, that cooking, because it gets dry. It starts to dry out.
Yep. Good luck overcooking chicken. A gas grill, I do chicken breasts on there. There's a window there where it's done and overdone.
Yep.
On a pellet grill, it's tough to overdo it.
Yeah. So have you ever been involved in any kind of grilling competitions?
A few.
Yeah?
Yeah, a few. It's a different world.
I've never been to one, but I hear people always saying that they're, it's really competitive.
Yeah. A really good vote for us was in the early days when people started taking pellet grills to those things. They tried to get them outlawed.
Oh, really?
They tried really hard.
Because they're too easy.
Yeah, there's no work into it. The guys with the pellet grill are in there sleeping, and everybody else is out there over their grill. They didn't like that at all. And the results speak for themselves. I mean, a lot of winners with pellet grills.
Oh, yeah. Well, that doesn't surprise me actually at all.
Yeah.
That's a true testament to how easy it is. I mean, I know guys that will get up or, go out at midnight and throw a piece of meat on and then go to bed, wake up in the morning, and then finish it off. And then everybody's coming over that evening, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah. And now with the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi that are pretty much across the board on most of the grills, you can, instead of getting up out of bed and going and checking on it, you can just roll over, take a peek at it, and make sure it's still at the temperature.
The technology that has come out.
World.
What are some other pieces of technology that have really set the new pellet grills apart?
Well, on all these grills now, they have the ones with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth have that ability, of course, but there's a lead that comes right off the control board, and it's a meat probe, so it's sticking inside the meat. So instead of having to open up the grill and check it yourself, you can just look at the outside of the grill, and it'll tell you the temperature of the grill and the meat temperature, and that's standard across all of them now. So that's a big jump.
So, what is the name Louisiana Grills and the relationship to Pit Boss and Danson's?
So Danson's is the overall company. So they manufacture Pit Boss grills and Louisiana grills, two different brands.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So Louisiana grills, how'd they come up with that name? That's a question we get all the time because we run into people across the country from Louisiana. Where are you guys making these? It was just that
not in Louisiana.
The owner, Dan Thiessen, thought that it was kind of synonymous with good food and good flavor.
Yeah.
So that's why he named it Louisiana Grills.
Oh, well, he's right about that too.
Yeah.
My neighbor's from Louisiana. He'd probably agree.
Yeah, I agree.
So Louisiana Grills and Pit Boss, and you work for Danson's, and you're a sales guy or?
Yep, Oregon, Washington, Northern California. Yep.
I was thinking maybe you were just a PR guy.
No,
just an events guy.
Not my strong suit. No, I got to go out and sell them.
I'm looking on the website right now, and I really want one of these griddles. Have you had any experience with those?
Yes, and that category across the barbecue world is probably the fastest growing category, griddles.
Yeah.
You've probably heard of Blackstone and those other grills that are out there. So Pit Boss makes what we call an ultimate griddle, and the separator there is that they kind of saw the popularity of griddles growing, so they said, how can we make it bigger, hotter, heavier for less, right? So one of the things that they changed on that is the grill surface a lot of times is cast iron.
Yeah.
And you have to cure it in.
Right.
And then it's kind of a pain to keep it from rusting, and it's some maintenance involved on that. So on the ultimate griddles, it's a ceramic coated surface. Use it right out of the box. You can use silicone tools that we have. But when I use them, I use metal tools because it's tough. But then when you're done, you just take a towel and wipe it down. And that griddle surface on the Ultimate Griddles it's a separator. It changes things.
Seasoning the grill.
Take it right out of the box and use it. Yep.
Yeah, I've been watching some YouTube videos on the griddles.
Yep.
And I bought a griddle for my camping stove, one of the big ones. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Grilling on those things.
Yeah. My wife likes it because I get to do bacon outside.
Yes.
She hates it when I do in the house. But yeah, cooking breakfast on those things is awesome. Stir fries, steaks on them are really good. Street tacos, they're fun to cook.
Smash
on.
burgers.
Yeah,
That's
smash
the other
burgers
one.
for sure.
What
yeah.
are you? I can smell it from here. What are you cooking over there today?
So we did pulled pork and chicken thighs and legs. Just easy for an event like this. But
yeah.
I love both of those things for showing off the flavor of a pellet grill because there's a separator there. When you cook a chicken thigh on a pellet grill, it's flat out tastes better. It's got more moisture left in it. It's a great way to go. I love chicken thighs.
So people that are worried about not getting chicken cooked all the way,
Yep.
right? They're worried about it being pink on the inside or
Yep.
whatever. What is I mean, you're not putting a probe inside of every piece of chicken. How are you doing it? Checking the one in the
I
middle?
use a temperature probe, especially when I come to an event like this. We'll check it for temperature, but it's really even across the board on the grill surface, how it's cooking. So when you load that thing up and you got a couple of pieces done, you're good.
Oh, okay. So
Yep.
you don't have to check them all.
No.
You check the ones in the middle or the ones on the side or whatever. That makes perfect sense. I always think to myself, what am I going to do? There's a lot of bone in there.
Yep.
Where do I stick it? Where's the right spot? How long do I leave it there?
Yep.
What is the temperature for chicken?
165.
165.
Yep, pretty safe there.
Yeah,
And again, I'll say this too. I don't mind running it up to 185 because it's done and it's going to hold more moisture, and I think you get a better flavor out of that too.
Yeah.
So,
I like mine the same as you.
Yeah.
A little bit more done than underdone, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that. We have to take a break here, and the last thing I want to say, what's your favorite thing to season with? You got about 10 seconds.
they have a good line of seasonings and sauces that have come out in the last couple of years. They did a whole redo. So there's a black truffle rub that I like. It's kind of fancy. I'm not a fancy guy, but that's a pretty good one. Yeah, it really comes down to what you're cooking because the options for the spices and the sauces are there, and they sell them here at Parr too.
Nice. Awesome. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey, welcome back to the Weekend Warriors Home Improvement Show. Thanks for staying with us. We're on location today at the Parr Lumber in Burns, Oregon. It's my first time here. This is actually a very nice little town. Tony and I were at Starbucks this morning. Literally everybody walking in the door, saying hi and waving to everyone.
Hey, Frank. Hey, Sarah. How you doing?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a very
everyone knows everyone in this town.
Tight-knit community.
Yeah,
and I'm glad to be part of it. I'm really glad that the local radio station here in Burns actually airs our show, KZHC, on Sunday mornings, 9 to 10 a.m. Thank you guys for airing us. Thanks for listening, and we're really glad to be here.
Yeah, we really are. This is a very cool little town. This event that's going on at Parr Lumber Company today is a big event. There is a lot of people in attendance. I mean, I'm thinking, when I think about the size of Burns, a very large percentage of the population of Burns is here today, which is very cool. And
well, they probably smelled the pulled pork on those Louisiana grills over there and just came in running.
Yeah, we just actually had Brian Traegar on the radio with us, and he was talking about the origins of the pellet grill. His family invented the pellet grill, and he now works for Danson's, and they sell Louisiana grills and Pit Boss grills, right, among other things. But yeah, that's a great product, and it looks good. But I'll tell you what, the smell coming from that area over there is unbelievable.
I know. We're gonna head over there right when we're done here.
I have definitely not eaten recently enough to curb my appetite for such yumminess. I'm excited.
I did want to say, if you're checking this out or you're listening to this and you haven't already, go check out our Facebook and our Instagram pages. We are at WW Home Show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd love to hear from you, too. You can leave comments on our YouTube videos, or you can email us. We're weekendwarriors@parr.com. That's PARR.com. And if you don't want to remember any of that, you can just go to parr.com and click on the Weekend Warriors link.
Yep. PARR.com.
So
and you'll find all of our stuff there.
Tony and I are hanging out today. So we were talking about barbecues. We should talk about a little bit of like maybe outdoor living.
Oh yeah, we should. I mean, if you're a person who barbecues, right? Let's just take Corey for an example. Corey is a person who barbecues. He's the guy that you see on the commercial, and he's got, grilling mitts, and he's got all of the tools, like 2 sets of all of the tools. He's got a hat, shades, and he's like, this meat I'm grilling smells amazing. He's just really good. He takes things that he does very seriously. And so what Corey did when he put his grill outside, he built a grill cover.
A barbecue cover.
A barbecue cover. Not the kind you drape over the grill. I'm talking about 4 posts and a roof at an angle, roofed with metal. I mean, the whole thing. Tell me about the inspiration for that. You wanted to be able to grill outside when it's raining?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is in Portland, it rains a lot. And, I didn't want my barbecues sitting out in the rain. I don't want to have to cover them all the time.
You don't want to have to carry it in and take it out.
Yeah, and you're taking the cover on, putting it on off. I mean, so I wanted to build a barbecue cover that would cover the entire area. But not too big. I wanted it just big enough to cover my barbecues and then keep me dry if I'm standing under it. So I built just a stand, like it's probably 8 feet long by 4 feet, maybe like a 4x8 sheet of plywood.
Yeah,
that's about how big it is. I made some mistakes, and I want to talk about those right now because I thought to myself that if I built this thing on 4 posts. And it goes up, and it's just got a shed roof on it, that it would be stable enough to just stand on its own. And it is not.
What do you mean it doesn't stand on its own?
Well, I had to come back. I didn't bury the posts in the ground.
Oh, okay.
So it's literally just sitting on my patio.
Oh, okay.
So that's probably the biggest mistake I made. If I were to redo it, I have a paver patio. I probably would have removed 4 pavers or maybe more and then dropped the posts into the ground, cemented them in, and had them come out of the ground. That way that thing would be super duper stable. So what I had to do was come in and add a bunch of weight to the bottom. And I made some cross braces, and I put some big 4x4s at the base of it, and I bolted it all together.
Okay.
And that actually created a pretty good scenario where it wasn't too tippy.
Right.
After the fact, but I learned the hard way.
That's interesting to me. Do you feel like, as I look at it, I see that it's pretty tall, really, like way up. You're not super tall, but it's way up over top of your head. Do you feel like it's taller than it needs to be?
So here's the funny thing about that. It is taller than it probably needs to be. The bottom of the shed roof is probably about 6 foot.
That's in the back.
Yep, and then the top is probably 8 foot. So it is very tall and angled down. And I did that on purpose because my neighbor, who is on the end of my street, whose backyard, the back of his house faces mine, I made it that way for some privacy. So it doubles as kind of a privacy screen because it goes over and above my fence line. So it's kind of at the top of my fence and then goes up another. So it kind of shades the area in my backyard. Right. It creates a little bit more privacy from my seeing neighbors who just look right down into our backyard.
I think the only reason I even asked that question is because I was thinking to myself, the higher it is, the more opportunity there is for rain to kind of come in below the roof and still on top of you. If you live in Oregon or in the valley in Portland, we get sideways rain. We get rain that doesn't just drop straight down, but coupled with wind, it makes it difficult probably to stay dry even under the cover.
That is true. I actually is on my list of things to do. I'm going to actually come down the sides and the back.
Oh, okay.
With some sort of solid, maybe some metal roofing or something like that to give me a little bit more protection.
And a little bit sheer, too.
Yeah, just to keep the everything a little drier. But when it's pouring down rain and I'm standing under it, I stay pretty dry.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the last thing I want to mention. You said something about putting the 4x4s in the ground. Have you thought about maybe just moving some pavers and maybe just pushing a
like a hold down?
No,
like
well,
a post base?
Yeah, I was thinking about a form tube, like a 8-inch form tube down, pour the concrete, level with the bottom of the pavers, and then just use a Simpson bracket maybe to attach the post.
That's actually a pretty good idea. It would be a lot of work. I would probably have to remove a few more pavers in each area, and I'd be digging through about 12 inches of gravel first. But it's possible. That would be, if I, in hindsight, I should have placed those piers before I put down my patio.
Yeah, sure.
But, at that time, I didn't even think about it. I just figured I could build it on the surface. So learn from my mistake.
Yeah.
And, when you're planning things out, and the funny thing is I had that barbecue cover in my plan the whole time. So it wasn't like it was an afterthought.
Right. No,
you're
right.
thought that if I built it, it would just sit there nice and heavy and not be tippy or anything.
And you did it over in the paver area as opposed to doing it up on the deck, say, for example. If you were going to do it on the deck, what precautions would you take as far as relationship of the grill to the house or the grill to the deck or that kind of a thing?
I've seen situations where people have had their barbecues too close to their house. You walk out the door and that's exactly where they keep their barbecue pushed up against the house. That can be dangerous. If you have James Hardy siding, probably don't have to worry about that too much. But if it's painted, you probably would worry about blistering the paint.
Yeah.
So barbecues get hot. You don't want them too close to your house. I had a neighbor who had vinyl siding. He had his barbecue pushed up against his house. And it actually melted all the vinyl behind his barbecue, which caused a big mess. He had to tear that whole side of his wall off and replace the whole thing. So,
that's terrible.
Keep that in mind.
It's expensive.
Also, pellet stoves, pellet barbecues, they create a lot of smoke, which is the greatest part about them. But also, that smoke is going to create and land on your house. If you got it pushed right up against your house, just be prepared for some soot. That you might potentially have to wash off. So I would bring it away from the house a few feet, and you'd be better.
Okay, so here is another caution. Here's a caution for someone who's using a wood pellet grill. If you're using a wood pellet grill, the soot that you're talking about can actually take a solid state right in the chimney of the grill.
Yes.
And so you cook and cook and cook, and that soot sort of
builds up
inside there.
Like creosote.
That's right. And well, guess what? It's super flammable. And so if you are cooking something at a very hot temperature, 500 degrees or whatever, that soot that's up in that chimney can actually catch fire. I've seen it happen. It happened to me.
It's part of the maintenance of owning a pellet barbecue. It's just like cleaning out your chimney in your house. You can't just let it go forever, especially if you're using it a lot and you're cooking very greasy things. That smoke and the grease kind of traps together and gets stuck in that chimney.
And you end up with a
fire,
a chimney fire. That's right.
That happened to you?
Yeah, you have to have the fire department out to put out a chimney fire. I mean, it's not a joke.
Didn't that happen to Pappy?
I think it did
happen to Pappy.
It did happen to Pappy.
Our old listeners who've listened to our show for a long time know Pappy.
Yeah, it's a very
Mr. Barbecue.
It's a very real situation where creosote builds up in there and it is flammable, and you have to keep that cleaned. Otherwise, you're at risk for starting a fire in your grill or your fireplace.
Yeah. And it's not hard to clean. Most of the chimneys on a barbecue have a chimney cap. You just unthread that off, and then you take your brush and brush it out. It's not that hard.
So you have a wood pellet grill at your house. Do you also own a gas grill?
I do.
So
here's the reason.
Explain this logic to me, because I feel like you're either a gas grill guy or you're a wood pellet grill guy, and that here's you that likes weirdly both. I don't really understand it.
people that own the original run of barbecues that were pellet grills, Traegers, they didn't have the ability to sear steak, And if you were listening to Brian in the first segment, he was telling us their new barbecues have the ability. There's a little flap that you slide over, and then you're grilling on right above the flame.
The sear station. He called it the sear station.
Yeah, my barbecue does not do that. So you can never get a good sear on a steak, and you can't cook something very, very quickly. If you're just trying to grill some burgers or hot dogs or something.
Oh, right.
Pellet barbecues, if you're just trying to grill something real quick, they're not quick. You know what I mean?
Right. No, sure.
So if you had the ability with like that Louisiana barbecue or that Pit Boss, I think I might trade them both out.
So then do you use your pellet grill and your gas grill in tandem, side by side, got them both fired up, and you're like, sear for a little while, smoke some more. Sear for a little while, smoke some more.
Now, I use my gas grill for
it's like two boxing.
Exactly
what playing video games.
Yeah, it's like exactly what I'm doing. I use that barbecue for grilling burgers or hot dogs, or like if I just want to cook a steak and put a good sear on it, that's when I'll use my gas grill. Shoot me. It doesn't taste as good.
I didn't say it was wrong. I just trying to understand.
I got 2 kids, and when kids are hungry, you can't say, you got to wait for that pellet stove to heat up.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It takes a bit of time.
Okay, so now he mentioned something about a griddle, and I heard you say to me about Blackstone. So let's just talk about the griddle. Tell me what it is. Is it because of breakfast? You're a big breakfast guy.
Well, you know me. We go camping, and I've got a 2-burner camp stove. Works out really well, and I bought a big griddle for it. And it is honestly really fun using a griddle outside. And, if you've ever gone to a really good burger place, chances are they're making smash burgers.
Oh, yeah.
You seen this?
Yeah.
Watch YouTube videos on how to make smash burgers, but they taste amazing.
So they basically, if I've got this right, they take the hamburger and they stuff the inside with stuff, and they make a ball, and they cook, and then they smash it down.
Yeah.
But it's got to have, a smash burger's got to have all the other stuff.
Well, you got to have a griddle. You got to cook it on a griddle. You can't smash it onto a barbecue because then it would just go through the grates.
Oh, yeah, right, onto a grill.
Yeah.
Right.
So you got to have a griddle. I mean, I suppose you could do the same thing on a grill, maybe a gas grill with
smash burger
with like a cast iron pan.
Have you made a smash burger?
I haven't, but my buddy has.
Yeah.
And they turn out amazing. They're so good.
You haven't made one, but you've ate one?
Yes.
And you liked it?
I'm sure you've eaten one too.
I don't know. I don't know that I have, but I'm looking forward to one. Maybe we can make me one later today.
I guarantee it.
When we get home on your...
Well, I don't have one yet, but I'm really hoping for my birthday I get a...
Did you hear that?
A griddle.
Everyone out there who knows Corey, he's hoping for a
griddle.
He's hoping for a griddle for camping.
Well, no, not for camping. For my backyard.
Oh, for his backyard.
I have a griddle for camping.
Interesting.
There's a dedicated... Pit Boss makes it. I'm looking at it on their website right now. It's a 4-burner Pit Boss griddle, and it is sweet.
Oh, the eggs and bacon that you could cook on that while we were camping. I liked when we go camping, we kind of split up, cooking responsibilities, and I always make Corey do breakfast. He's really good at eggs and bacon and eggs, bacon. Hash browns and bacon.
Anyway,
can you tell we're hungry? We're obviously hungry.
Well, the smell of that barbecue.
Yeah.
So anyway, going back to outdoor living, let's talk about your outdoor living situation.
Yeah.
You built a very large barbecue cover. You actually built a patio cover that covers your whole entire patio.
Yeah. 12 by 20, my back patio is. It's a concrete patio. It's an Adair home. It's the back patio, concrete back patio comes standard. And we built a cover to cover the whole thing. And I tied it into the back of the house and did it A-frame style. Mm-hmm. So that it runs perpendicular to the A-frame on my house, right? So the trusses, it's perpendicular to my trusses. But yeah, we attached it to the house and put it on 4 posts. But I used big timbers. 6x6 posts, a 6x10 or a 6x12 20 beam that runs across the front. Yeah, you actually calced that for me to make sure that it was going to carry the load that I needed to carry. I decked it with T&G Select Deck so that the underneath is all exposed.
2x6 tongue and groove.
Yep, and I put that on top of 4x8 rafters. And so it's all very timber, blocky, chunky, super heavy-duty looking, all exposed wood on the inside. And I put a clear coat on it. I didn't stain it at all.
Nice.
I just sprayed it with a clear coat. But it's really awesome. In the windiest, rainiest days, the rain can get pushed in, I'd say 4 feet probably. I can get wet concrete in about 4 feet. But that gives me a good 8 feet of solid dry from the house. And so I keep the grill and the patio furniture and everything pushed up, out of the rainy area. But we built that ourselves, and it's one of the greatest things, one of the greatest additions to the house that I've done since I've owned it.
Do you regret not putting any lights or skylights in it?
I don't. And I'll tell you why. We actually hung from the middle, right smack in the middle, we hung down a sort of chandelier-looking thing that holds candles, and we strung lights, those big
patio lights.
Yeah, patio lights. And so it's all lit up on the inside like a Christmas tree. It looks really good. And I definitely don't regret putting a skylight there. I think when I want to be in the sun, I'm in the sun. But when I want to be out of the sun, I don't want to have to deal with a skylight that's letting some through. You know what I mean?
The patio cover that I have in my house is quite a bit smaller. I think mine is about 12 by 12.
But
10
yours
10
is
by 10.
Yours is super unique.
Yeah, I actually have a patio cover that goes over my hot tub patio. And it's made out of aluminum. And our house, the back of our house, faces south.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of sun. Lots and lots of sun. But inside of our house is very dark. I mean, we have lots of windows, but it still gets very dark. And being in Oregon, being in Portland, we like as much sun as we can get. So on those sunny days, we don't want to block it out. And we really had a hard time with that. We didn't want to build a patio cover off the back of our house that
would be too dark.
Took away all the sun that we do get.
Right. But you did want to have a place where you could be out of the rain.
Right.
So that was a dilemma.
It was a dilemma.
Whatever does a guy do when he needs it to be open and closed?
Right. So we took the approach that there's a product that's made out of aluminum that has louvers in it. And those louvers, when they close, they lock together. And it's like a wavy shape, right? So each louver, they close in and they create a channel for water. So when it hits it, it's completely waterproof.
And it's electric. You just push a button.
You push a button, and the louvers open up to any degree you want. So they even have sensors on them. They have rain sensors. So if it starts raining, they'll close
automatically.
Or if you want it to follow the sun, you can actually set it to follow the sun. So the louvers are always in the sun throughout the day. Very cool product. I don't have all the fancy bells and whistles, but you can get fans, you can get lighting inside of them that are all waterproof because, like I said, when it rains, the rain sensor kicks on, closes it up.
Yeah.
But if you want the sun, push the button, bam.
Yeah, something else that's really cool at it, it actually has integral gutters, a gutter system and a downspout system. So when that closes down and it's watertight, it's going to collect water. And when it does, it runs the water to the gutter, and the gutter to a downspout, and the downspout runs the water out. Yeah. Did you actually run rain drains from it to manage the water?
So ours was a little bit unique. The contractor that put it together, he suggested so you would normally slope it away from your house. So we have it up on our roof deck with these brackets. And then you would think that it would slope away from the house, but it doesn't. It actually slopes back to the house. And then the water goes into our gutter.
Oh,
attached to our house already.
Oh, interesting. You're utilizing your gutter for the thing.
So we didn't have to worry about downspouts or anything. The water just comes out of the integral gutter system, pours into our current gutter, and then out to the street.
Super smart. Yeah, I when I built my back patio cover, I actually ran the downspouts at both corners just down into a dry well. I dug 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot space, filled it with large
gravel,
and river rock, and yeah, we don't have any problem. I thought, well, I wonder if that's going to be enough, or if I'm going to end up with water backed up there. Nope, never had it happen. It's been there for years and years. But yeah, depending on the amount of space that it covers, how much water it can potentially get, then you just need to dig the hole the size of to hold that much water.
That's a fantastic.
But it worked
idea.
out. It worked out really good. And so, yeah, I mean, that's really my backyard space. I have also a patio area that's about 20 by 20 that I have a fire pit in the middle of, a real fire pit made out of concrete. And we burn wood in there. You have an electric fire pit.
Gas.
You have a gas fire pit.
Yeah, it's propane. It's not attached to. If I were to do it again, I would run natural gas from my house out to the pit and do it that way. Our neighbors have that, and that thing is, you have to sit 6 feet away from it, the amount of heat that comes off of that thing. Mine is just a little propane fire pit that we bought, and it does the job.
You're out under the stars with a little bit of heat and a little bit of light. I mean, it's a nice place in the summertime to sit outside at night and enjoy company.
Absolutely.
And mine is the exact same way, except when I go in, I smell like a campfire. It's a little more authentic.
A little smoky.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's about the time we've got today. This has been really a great show. Burns, we love you.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thanks for all the hospitality, Burns. We
can't wait to come back again.
We'll come back next year. Maybe come for the same event.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Well, this has been another episode of Your Weekend Warriors right here
on the Weekend Warriors Radio Network.
Have a great week.
Thank you so much for watching. Please check out our social channels right here. Our podcast channels here, or tune into the Weekend Warriors radio show every weekend across the Pacific Northwest. This has been another episode of your Parr Weekend Warriors. We'll see you next time.